The 2018 Visit Conway Cambrian Rally marks the start of an exciting season in the Jordan Road Surfacing Btrda Rally Series. Current champions, previous champions, and waiting champions all out to do battle and of course have some serious fun on some iconic rally stages. Btrda would once again provide the seaside start to the rally before heading out to the forests, most recently used on the UK's round of the WRC. Last year's champion Stephen Petch leads the crews away. The title defence was underway, the pressure on as he comes here with the number 1 on the door. It will be a great start for Russ Thompson and Andy Murphy in the highly competitive Group N battle. They take the lead there with a good margin, but as we know, there is no backing off if you want to keep hold of that lead. After the championship title fight went down to the wire on the final round last season, there would be no doubt that Pat Naylor and Ian Lawrence will be back to do battle once again. Second place in the NR4 class for the pair at this stage was a good start. And it would be that close battle that tempted Tom Norton back out onto the stages once again. Will Rogers alongside for this season. They get right back into the groove as well with third place in the NR4 class at this stage in the rally. On to the afternoon, and sadly we'd lose Tom Norton and Will Rogers with mechanical issues, only passing our cameras on the start line of the stage. So that would mean change in the NR4 class. Dan Moss and Sam Allen stepping up to take third place in that fight. At the end in the NR4 class, things would stay the same at the top. Pat Naylor and Ian Lawrence coming out with second place. Unable to get themselves the victory this weekend, but second place was a great start to their campaign. So that, of course, meant that victory would go to this man, Russ Thompson. Andy Murphy alongside, as always. They led from the morning stages, holding on to that victory in Group N by 15 seconds by the finish. With the unfortunate cancellation of the Malcolm Wilson Rally, the Rally Nuts stages would become round 2 of the Btrda Rally Championship, a new event on the Btrda calendar this season, but using some familiar stages as far as the crews were concerned. In the classes outside the top 10, it will be the lead in the NR4 battle for Russ Thompson and Andy Murphy. They open up half a minute of a lead in that class, something we don't usually see in this competitive category. And chasing them down on the results will be this man, Tom Norton, with Will Rogers alongside, second in the class, just behind on the overall times as well. And for Dan Moss and Sam Allen, the gap would be a little bigger. They end the morning with third place in the class, a few places back in 14th overall. And there'd be no change in the NR4 class either. Dan Moss and Sam Allen continuing to hold on to third place in the class, 13th place overall as well. For Tom Norton and Will Rogers, it would be second. A welcomed result given the retirement at the opening round in Llandudno. They get themselves some much needed points on the board though. Russ Thompson and Andy Murphy move up to round out the top 10 in the second half of the day. And of course, they keep hold of their lead in the NR4 class to take maximum points this weekend. The third round of the Jordan Road Surfacing Btrda Rally Series would head to Welshpool for the start of the Plains Rally, with scrutineering taking place in the town before heading into the forests, where the real action, of course, begins. Meanwhile, it will be the lead in the NR4 class for Russ Thompson and Andy Murphy at the midway point. A good start, seeing them take a 7-second advantage as the crews head into service. It wasn't without its moments though, as you might expect from a hard-charging crew such as Thompson and Murphy, going wide on one corner in stage 3 and just getting back on the line in time to avoid those big logs.
200, 4 right.
Second in that class were Tom Norton and Will Rogers. The times were close though. The battle would be on into the afternoon stages. And also getting a look in on that battle were Pat Naylor and Ian Lawrence. Third in the class for the pair, just 11 seconds back from Norton. On to the afternoon stages then, and the attrition would start in earnest. We lose Tom Norton and Will Rogers. They go off the road in the 5th stage of the day, sadly requiring the ambulance. Dramatic and a bad impact, although they are both recovering well now, we're pleased to report. The earlier loss of Tom Norton from the leaderboard means that Pat Naylor and Ian Lawrence would step up to take second in the NR4 class by the end of the rally. Lawrence, of course, if you've been following us so far, beaten to the class victory by Russ Thompson and Andy Murphy, extending their advantage in the class lead to over half a minute by the end of the rally. The Carlisle stages would be the 4th round of the Jordan Road Surfacing Btrda Rally Series and would mark the crossover into the second half of the championship season. It would be a good start to the day for Pat Naylor and Ian Lawrence, meanwhile, on paper anyway. They do lose their sump guard in the second stage of the day, having to fashion a new one on in service from a sheet of plywood, ready for the afternoon stages. Russ Thompson and Andy Murphy, who end the morning on exactly the same time as Kakad. They weren't happy with the handling over the morning stages. Some changes would have to be made in service, which wasn't good for that car up ahead of them. More pace would ensue. Ah, yeah. And things never seem to go that smoothly up north for Russ Thompson and Andy Murphy. Frustratingly for them, they clip a tree stump hard in the afternoon stages, causing some pretty hefty damage and meaning they have to limp the car home to take second in the NR4 class. A good result considering what could have been, but not that victory that they were hunting. There'd be some troubles to contend with though for Pat Naylor and Ian Lawrence in the NR4 battle. Thankfully for them, Russ Thompson had already had his own problems. A puncture for Naylor towards the end of the last stage would cost them a little time, but they managed to keep hold of that class lead and indeed third place overall.
4 right.
I think we got a puncture. I don't know, I'm not sure.
4 right. 150. 150. 150. Keep it on, let's go. 150. 2 left. 60. 6 left.
So far, the 2018 Btrda Rally Championship season has given us plenty of action, as of course we expected. Battles throughout the leaderboard and a close fight for that 2018 championship title, which of course they all want. Just think of the battles we've had over the last few years. This weekend's Nicky Grist stages will, we expect, be no different. There are several crews all in the fight, all wanting their name on that trophy, including current champions Stephen Petch and Michael Wilkinson. Their retirement last time out though on the Carlisle stages would be an inconvenient, shall we say, mark on their otherwise consistent score sheet so far. A couple of wins each so far this season. Perhaps the favourite to be battling it out in the final rounds then will be Paul Bird and Matt Edwards. Matt suffering on a number of occasions with some bad luck, including a broken wheel and power steering problems on that Fiesta, but still very much in the fight going into the second half of the season. So here we are at the Nicky Grist stages then. Russ Thompson and Andy Murphy come to this round with the Group N Championship in their sights. It needed a measured and fast drive to the finish, something which thankfully the pair had been able to manage all season so far, but we have seen flaws in that approach before. Indeed, this weekend we'll be going to plan so far, leading the class and in 8th place on the overall leaderboard. Let's take a look then at some of the classes outside the top 10, and it will be second in the NR4 class for John Ross and Martin Oscarin. A good way back off the class lead, but going well at this stage. For Pat Naylor and Ian Lawrence, it will be third in that class. Certainly not where they expected to be. A few moments in the morning stage would show that they were trying. Sadly, one of them resulting in having to pull over to change a tyre, which was not good for the times, putting them, of course, out of contention this weekend, barring a miracle.
4 right. 4 left long. 6 right tightens. Rock inside. Sudden square left onto tyre. 50 square right. 150. 150 in 6 right and 80. And 80, dip, cut, 4 left over crest, 100 down. 100 down, mid dip, watch bump bridge, and 2 right over crest, in 4 left, 40, fast over crest, 1 left and 100. 3 left, 60, sudden hairpin left. 60, sudden hairpin left. Watch that rock.
Hang on. Something.
2 right, crest, in 3 left, in 3 left.
Got a puncture.
5 right.
Got a puncture.
Alright, go on, carry on.
On then we go to the afternoon stages, and despite not challenging for the lead in the NR4 class, Pat Naylor and Ian Lawrence would still be fighting their way back up the leaderboard. No change though in that class as they end the event with third. It would still be second in that class for John Ross and Martin Oscarin. A good result for the pair, taking advantage of those issues for Naylor, but putting in, crucially, some good times. Everything would go to plan for Russ Thompson and Andy Murphy this weekend. A good drive to 8th place overall. More importantly, though, as we mentioned earlier, the pair do enough to tie up the highly competitive Group N title for the season. 2 rounds to spare, that is a result. The penultimate round then of the Btrda Rally Championship for 2018 heads to Shropshire for the Woodpecker stages, but would it be the title decider? Will be the lead in the NR4 class for Pat Naylor and Ian Lawrence. They only had one more round after this to try and take that Group N title, and they were clearly pushing to make this weekend count. 5th place for the pair overall after this stage.
In hairpin right, 130. Keep it neat. 130. In 3 left, over crest. And then caution, slowing, 5 right neat, hairpin left long bail. Hairpin left long bail. Bail, 80. 4 right and hairpin right. 4 right and hairpin right. 100. 100. 3 right past, fast 3 right past shed, and then 2 right. 40, 3 left through dip, 3 left through dip, and 40, small crest, and 3 left continues for 100, and 3 right, 3 left for 100, and 3 right, 3 right, and then 60, fast, 1 right, 150, small crest, in 5 right tightens over dip, in 5 right tightens over dip, 100, 100, 4 left long, and 150, 4 left long, 150, 1 left at bench, 80 afterwards, tell me when the bench,
Yeah, got it.
80 afterwards, 1 left over small crest, 42 right, 4 left over dip, 4 left over dip, 1 right over crest, 130, 130 in 2 right, and 2 left for 80. 2 left for 80, and 3 left, and then care, crest, in 5 right. 3 left, care, in 5 right. 1 right long, 100 down, in 4 left over bump. 60, 60, 3 left over bump. 170, 170, small crest, 40, in square left neat. And 3 right. 3 right, 60, cut hairpin left. Cut hairpin left. 2 right half long. 1 left over crest. 250. 250.
Things weren't quite going to plan though for Russ Thompson and Andy Murphy. 2nd in the NR4 class at this stage, which would have been something to chase in the afternoon, but sadly they would retire after service, robbing us of that fight. Let's end the rally with a fantastic result. The NR4 class victory was theirs at the end of the event, and the pair take 6th place overall in the
small crest, fast 2 left half long, 100 down, right over small crest,
Yep, that one.
in 3 right half long,
You bit late there, mate.
40, 1 right, down into 3 left, and care, 5 right tightens, 5 right tightens, and 6 left long, 40, 40, 1 right, 130, and caution, slowing, 4 left, tightens, in hairpin left, hairpin right, hairpin left, hairpin right, hairpin right, in hairpin right. 3 right long, hairpin left, 60 in hairpin left, 40, fast 2 left, over crest, and 2 right, 100, in, deceptive hairpin right, in, deceptive hairpin right here. Fast 2 left for 80, 1 right, 60, 1 right again, and 40, in 5 left long, 2 right, sudden, 4 left. 5 left long, 2 right, sudden, 4 left, 40, 40, 3 left long, 40, don't cut, in hairpin right, in hairpin right, 130, 130, in 6 left at lanes, 1 left over small crest, in 6 left at lanes, and 1 left, 1 left, 40, in 3 left, over crest bump, 60 down, in hairpin left, long, long, it keeps going round, up, 6 right long, 6 right tightens long, tightens, 1 right over crest, in 4 left, 80 afterwards, 80 slowing, small crest, hairpin right, 170, 170, fast, and then it's a 3 left, don't cut, fast, 150, and then it's care, 150 care, in 4 right, tightens over small crest, care, 4 right, tightens over small crest, you got it, 40 tight, past junction, half long, 1 right, care, 60, deceptive, 6 left long, deceptive, 6 left long, deceptive, long, 2 right long, and 60, in 4 right, so in 3, and a 4, in 4, 40, 1 left over small crest, continues for 130, tightens into 2 right past lane, and 40, 1 left, continues for 170, by trees, 2 right over finish, 200, okay, 2 left.
Oh, it's a shame Russ is out. Wonder what happened.
I don't know. I don't know what I do, mate. Couple left and my right's wrong a bit there.
It's just well I knew this one reasonably well.
Yeah, I do. That's good.
Yeah.
Nice and smooth.
Awesome.
The Track Rod Rally Yorkshire marks the season finale of the Jordan Road Surfacing Btrda Rally Series. And with Matt Edwards sewing up the title on the previous round, this weekend arguably would be all about those other places overall. But, of course, this is one rally that all drivers want to take a victory on, particularly those in the local contingent. Pat Naylor and Ian Lawrence make a good start to the event in the N4 class. There wasn't as many out this weekend, but the main contenders were there, and they held the lead after the morning stages. And Russ Thompson and Andy Murphy take up second place in N4 at this stage. This would still be enough to do what they needed as far as the championship was concerned, but the win was of course important as well. This class ultra competitive and nobody just goes for a finish. With the loss of Russ Thompson, it made victory for Pat Naylor and Ian Lawrence a little easier. Though they had, of course, led from this morning. They can't do enough to take the class championship win this weekend, but that result does give them third in the championship overall for 2018. A fantastic achievement.